Hey guys, welcome. It's Matt Johnson, and this is a 21-day Eat Challenge webinar. And before I begin, as everyone's trickling into the room, the 21-day Eat Challenge is kind of our version to create focus around a nutritional plan. Now, you may call that a diet, you may call that a plan. We try to call it a lifestyle, but for 21 days, it's very focused. I'm going to go into why, how, some challenges, some opportunities, and everything that encompasses the 21-day Eat Challenge. But I always begin with this question, and this is the question I'm going to start with by asking you. How good do you feel? Or how do you feel right now? Great, good, okay, not my best. You know, where are you right now? I always like to begin with that question because then we know, should we make some changes? I think a lot of us would like to feel better right now, but working with thousands of people, what I've really kind of figured out is many people don't know what it actually should feel like to feel your best. And one of the amazing things, and especially at On Target Living, this is what I do every single day, is every time I do the 21-day Eat Challenge, I would say it's that second week, day 14, day 15, where I kind of remind myself, oh my gosh, I forgot how good it feels to feel my best. And so that's how I want to begin today. Where are you currently? Maybe you don't know what it feels like to feel your best. Maybe you do, but how do we kind of catapult us forward, especially in this space where it's chaotic, there's fear, there's the unknown. And I think many of us are looking for some type of focus around a nutritional plan. But why we're so passionate about doing this, the entire team of On Target Living, we've spent the last month putting together this new version of the 21-day Eat Challenge. There's so much noise. Podcasts, social media, this diet, this study, that doctor. And what we've realized is that every single nutritional program focuses on what you shouldn't eat. You shouldn't eat carbs. You should cut out sugar. Can't eat grains. No, nightshades. Whatever it is, there's all these things what you shouldn't eat. One of the things that makes this 21-day challenge unique is we focus on the foods that you can eat. And I think this is probably the most profound thing to start today's webinar talking about is how cool is it that we're going to focus on the foods you should eat versus thinking about the foods you shouldn't eat. I think we all know the foods that we shouldn't eat. We probably shouldn't be eating these foods that will outlive us. You know, we have the Jif peanut butter, we have the Pringles can, we got the Coffee Mate creamer, we got the stuff that glows in the dark. And so that's what I want us to kind of start with today, focusing on the foods that you can eat versus focusing on the foods that you can't eat. That's the kind of the genesis around the 21-day Eat Challenge. Now I went through the archives and I'll put this on full screen, but I kind of went back and tried to find our oldest version of the food target. This isn't it. This is actually around 2000, but in 1994, my father, Chris Johnson, created the food target. And as you'll see in this version, I think this might have been version 3 or 4, there wasn't as many things in the target. And it's evolved since then, and it will continue to evolve. But the concept, the principle is still the same. Improve the quality, focus on quality first, then quantity lines itself up. And so that's what we're basing this 21-day Eat Challenge. We're focusing on the center 2 circles of the food target. So that's going to be the better and the best categories. And we've actually went a step further and created this eat guide that you can easily follow. But one of the things that you want to think about is, why would I want to do a 21-day Eat Challenge? And why 21 days? Well, as you can see, the food target's very forgiving. If you like chips, there's a better chip. If you like bread. But for 21 days, we're going to focus on the most nutrient dense, and we call these superfoods, that we can consume. And you'll see this eat guide, there's hundreds of foods we can consume. You can cook with it, you can eat it raw, you can combine them. Really what we're looking for is foods with one ingredient, and that's what's at the center of the target. Now there's beverages, and there's condiments, and there's other foods that kind of can make the recipes come together, and I'll share a couple of recipes through our time today. But the 21-day eat challenge, eat in the center 2 circles of the target for 21 days, that's as simple as it is. So there's one rule: you eat in the center 2 circles of the target for 21 days, and this eat guide is the guide that will take you through. But one of the feedbacks we've gotten doing the 21-day eat challenge over the last 10 years is, can you give us recipes? Can you show us how to put these foods together? And so one of the bonuses for this 21-day eat challenge, once you sign up, you actually get a challenge-friendly target-to-table cookbook. And so we removed the recipes that aren't necessarily in the 21-day eat challenge. There's so many recipes: breakfast, snack, dessert, dinner, side dishes. So this is a tool that you're going to have once you sign up for the challenge. And I know that's a big thing for a lot of folks as they're thinking about, should I do the 21-day eat challenge? Now, this is so simple, doesn't mean it's easy. So for 21 days, you're going to have whole foods, fruits and vegetables. If you eat meat, there's upgraded options of meat. You can go plant-based, however you want to do the 21-day eat challenge, but it's just real food. And I was talking to a client yesterday. We were talking about her supplementation, and she heard that she should take this, and her doctor wants her to take this, and next thing you know, she's on 5, 6, 7 different vitamins, multivitamin supplements. And one of the cool parts about this 21-day challenge is all about food. And you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to feel like you're depriving yourself. You're actually just creating focus around food. And when you start to consume more food, and you can see some of these foods on the screen, you got purples and yellows and greens, orange. We're going to start to get these vitamins and minerals that many of us are deficient in. And so whether it's omega-3s or magnesium or B12, these are some of the common deficiencies that you're aware of, but when we start to eat more whole foods, it starts to take care of that. And one of the things that we're so passionate about is we don't believe that you have to do supplementation. If you start with whole foods, you start asking better questions, give yourself that raw material, that's how we start to handle these deficiencies. But we're going to talk about ways, how can you make a healthier smoothie, whether it's adding fats or what's the liquid base, whether it's coconut water or almond milk or just plain water, carrot juice. You're going to have this as a resource. Using fruit as kind of a health defense, boost your immune system, antioxidant. It's going to help you cleanse the body. And so a lot of people are cutting out fruit because they're trying to lose weight. You'll find fruit's a fantastic food, not only for the sweetness, but actually the benefits. Adding greens, and can I hide some greens in my smoothie? Kale, spinach, arugula, whatever you like to put in your smoothie. Arugula is not actually the best thing that I would put in a smoothie, but these are some really cool tips, and this is kind of what you're going to experience over the 21 days. We're going to send you emails. We're going to give you tips. We're going to talk about strategies, mistakes you can make, but really try to make it easy for you to practice and try some new healthy upgrades. Now, another story. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and he might be on this webinar now, but he was talking about how he didn't eat any food the whole day. And he's busy, he's got all these things going on. Well, here's a great recipe, challenge-friendly. Many of you know about it. If you don't know about it, we got a picture of my father in the cookbook because it's the only recipe we give him credit for. And all it is you're mixing rolled oats, some type of plant-based milk, some type of fruit soaking overnight, oatmeal on the run. And so this is what we're going to try to show you, try to teach you, is how to make this 21-day eat challenge not only simple, but we're going to try to make it as easy as possible for you to get the success. Or maybe you haven't tried foods like teff. And teff is an ancient grain. It's the smallest actually grain, highest sources of protein of any grain. It's Ethiopian based. And it's one of the most, I think, tasty porridges or breakfasts you can make. It takes a little bit of time, kind of tastes like shredded wheat, or if you've had that cocoa wheat hot cereal. But these are ways that you're trying to think, well, what are some other options? Extremely beneficial. going to have some nutrients maybe you're deficient in, but you can make it taste good, adding cacao, real honey. So that's another cool thing. And then, making it fun. And you can see that my sister there, I love this picture of my twin sister, Kristen, because, she loves not only to eat, but she combines it to make it healthy and in a way that really is love. It's social, it connects us. And so we can have food, and this is an example of 3 different breakfasts that are 21-day friendly, but also enjoyable at the same time. And so we're gonna share more of this, but I want you to get excited about, it's not just focusing on eating fruits and vegetables for 21 days, it's how can you start to upgrade what you like in a way that fuels the body and makes you be your best. My wife loves to bake. These are some challenge-friendly granolas, Traverse City Cherry Granola, and then you got the other one with some other nuts and seeds. But we're gonna try to make it so food tastes good and at the same time makes us healthy. But you're saying, Matt, I don't like to cook. I don't know how to cook. That might be one of your challenges. Here's an example of a baked dinner. All you're doing is putting everything on one tray. You put parchment paper, whatever you want to do, olive oil, salt, and pepper, and next thing you know, you got baked onions with asparagus, red skin potatoes, and a chicken breast. It can be easy. It just creates a little bit of a mindset, some beliefs, some options, and we're going to provide those for you. And then snacks. I would say snacks over the 21 days are going to be where you want to get the most creative. We can have hummus, and we can have carrots and hummus, or we can make those are kale chips with garbanzo beans or chickpeas that we bake. These are 2 great options. You can do them ahead of time. You can do a smoothie bowl where you're adding a bunch of stuff to it. So there's a number of different ways to create snacks. How can you do it where you can travel with it? How can you do it ahead of time? Again, those are going to be some areas of opportunity as you're going through the challenge. Fried rice, amazing salads with different types of colors. These are the ways that we want you to think about food. And then dessert. If you've never had our Fruitylicious upside down cake, and my version of it is I actually use a baking sheet and I lay it out and it makes it a little bit flatter, maybe a little bit easier to make. But we can actually have food that's pleasing, enjoyable, and Dawn, who works for us, which many of you know, her daughter actually wanted this as a wedding cake. That wasn't possible, but this food is actually real food. And like my sister will tell you, kind of flavor comes from nutrients. And so when we eat real food, we start to get the flavor and the nutrients. Okay, so how do we do this challenge? What's it all about? Number 1, it begins with the source. We're gonna try to go as close to the source as possible for 21 days. And this is 100% going closer to the source as much as we possibly can for 21 days. So we're gonna try to eat more fruits. We're gonna try to eat more vegetables. The value and the cost is what the source is all about. So the lower the cost at the source, increase of the value. So there's nothing healthier than an organic apple, and I say organic because it's one of the dirty dozen where you want to get organic if possible. Apple cider vinegar is another great condiment or alternative. Use it over this 21 days. But this is an example of some of the stuff we see that when we get back to the basics, focusing on what you can eat, you start to realize I don't have to spend a lot of money. Number 1 selling supplement on Amazon right now is apple cider vinegar gummies. This is not challenge friendly. It's way far from the source, heavily processed. There's going to be gums and flavors that make that gummy bear. And so we're going to get closer to the source. And along the way, what this is going to show us is we don't have to spend so much money. Our food bill, what we spend per month on supplements doesn't have to be crazy to feel our best. So it begins with the source. That's where the challenge stems from, going closer to the source. But the 21-day challenge, one simple rule, eating in the green for 21 straight days. But along the way, you're going to get 13 kind of motivational guidance emails. And we're going to teach you about hydration. We're We're going to talk about why superfoods are so powerful, how to make upgrades, maybe frequency, how you're planning your meals, how often, how much. Calories are important, quality first. And then we're going to end with how do you make this a lifestyle after the 21 days? See, I think where many diets and programs fail is you do it for a certain time, then you go back to whatever you used to do. One of the cool parts about focusing on what you can eat is we're staying with the positive. After the 21 days, we're going to start to create it more sustainable. And that's what the 80-20 rule is we're not doing it 100% of the time, we're doing it closer to 80, and that gives us some wiggle room to have a little bit of indulgences 20% of the time. So when we think about beverages, a lot of people spend so much of their calorie intake on beverages. A lot of them don't have calories. So if you're talking about diet soda or coffee, these things don't have a ton of calories, but they also have some other properties that maybe dehydrate us or don't allow us to feel our best. This is your challenge, but I want you to think a lot about beverages. And it's not just drinking water. Are you adding lemons and limes in your water? Maybe you want to try naturally carbonated mineral water. Have you tried coconut water as a kind of an upgrade to some of the sports drinks? Tea is okay. Hot and cold water. I mean, we can go on using the beverage target at the bottom of the main food target. Try to use the upgrades, same thing with beverages. Now, coffee is not necessarily off limits for the 21-day challenge. I wouldn't recommend it if possible, but if you do need to have a cup of coffee, keep it simple. 1 cup of coffee, make sure it's black. Because what we're trying to do over these 21 days is we're really trying to allow the body to thrive by giving it the right fuel. Same thing with sweeteners, same thing with condiments. We're just trying to make them better and stay in focus for 21 days. But you may be thinking, well, okay, I got to do the superfoods for 21 days. I'd recommend you do the superfoods as part of this 21-day challenge. It's not a requirement. Everybody's in a different spot. The reason why we're promoting and trying to get people to do these superfoods is because this tends to be where people have the deficiencies. So omega-3s, from hormonal health to brain health to inflammation, 95 to 98% of us are deficient in omega-3s. And so we're going to go closer to the source as much as possible. These are some of the oldest foods on the planet. And one of the things that it does, with a small amount of food, gives us an array of nutrients. And so these are the top 4 superfoods, but I like to think of anything in the center of the target in some way a superfood. So yesterday I had eggplant, it's purple, tons of nutrients, different types of nutrients. Anything in nature in the center of the target has some type of superfood properties, but using the top or the big 4 superfoods along the 21 days is highly encouraged. It's not required.
Okay, I haven't had a carb since 2004. Check these out. See these? See these, boys? This is what I live with every day. I lather this up with Kiehl's in the shower. You want to touch these bad boys? Sorry, not going to happen.
So I was looking over some of the most popular diets and trends, and we've heard the buzzwords, and obviously ketosis is, I would say, the #1 trendy. I mean, foods are named it. I was in Meijer's, a grocery store, if you're not familiar with Meijer's, and there's magazines titled keto. And one of the things we got to get back to of how the body works is we require these macronutrients, large nutrients. And the largest is carbohydrates. When you cut out a carbohydrate or a macronutrient, you will have some large issue or some problem down the road. So one of the things we're doing is we're sacrificing these quick fixes for long-term health. Here's the cool part. 21 days, you can have fruit, you can have potatoes, you can use grains, different types of grains. You can find ways to make cookies. There's so many things we can do over this 21 days where we're not having to deprive ourselves of joy. One of the best parts about carbohydrates, and you've heard me say this, is they help to stimulate serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that makes us happy. And so carbohydrates, over this challenge, you're going to learn about them. I want you to consume them. I want you to think differently about them. Yes, they're sugar, but sugar is carbohydrates, carbohydrates are sugar. It depends on the source, the quality. And so over this 21 days, you're starting to figure out, wow, for the last 5-10 years, I've been trying to lose weight. I've been cutting out carbohydrates, but my energy's not good when I do that. I can't sleep. This is what carbohydrates are. They're magical, but it depends on the type of carbohydrates. We know when we process any carbohydrate, it's no longer going to be absorbed and eliminated the same way. So carbohydrates are a huge part of making these upgrades over the 21 days. Proteins. I think what happens the biggest over the 21 days is you start to realize, wow, I got this abundance of energy that I didn't know I was capable of. Well, it's because you're eating real food. The body knows what to do with it. It knows how to store it if it needs to. It knows how to eliminate it. And we tend to not overeat when we're eating close to the source. So think about broccoli. It's high in protein, has obviously carbohydrates, array of nutrients, phytochemicals, but we're probably not going to eat broccoli. Even chicken, if we're going to have chicken or get a better version of chicken, we probably aren't going to over-consume chicken unless we start to deep fry it, unless we start to put it in some sauces. And so proteins are important. I want you to go more plant-based if possible. Spirulina chlorella, high source of protein, nuts and seeds, fish, poultry if you eat animal products, free-range eggs. Trying to think about maybe I'm going to use hummus throughout the day with my veggies just to get some balance. Proteins are amazing. They're our building block. We don't have to overconsume them. And what I see people do is they start to realize, I'm not eating as much animal product. My digestion feels a little bit better. I have a little bit more energy. I'm sleeping better. So this is a big area of making upgrades. And then I strongly, strongly recommend trying healthy fats and new healthy fats. Have you tried avocado oil, higher temperature? Are you using virgin coconut oil? Nuts and seeds, maybe you're putting that in your smoothie versus processed protein powders. So using fats are the healing macronutrient. One of the greatest things that sometimes people don't think about entering some of these programs is what it does to their skin. Your skin is your largest organ. It shows toxicity. It shows hormonal imbalances. When you start to put the right fat in the body, it's amazing what happens to your skin. And so that's some testimonials that we get from a lot of people. Wow, my skin, my hair, my nails, they're better than ever. Fats are a big part of this 21 days. Okay, so that's the bottom layer of the eat pyramid. When we start to go to the next layer, this is when we start to get into more of the technical, the tactical. And it begins with frequency, or what we call meal patterning. And when we think about meal patterning, there's two things I want you to focus on. How often should you eat? And are you giving yourself time to break down the food you put in your gut? So the 3-hour rule is kind of the rule over these 21 days. If there's a second rule, eat anything in the target, but try to eat these foods every 3 to 4 hours if possible. What this does is it's going to sustain a more constant energy, and it will prevent you from being hungry, tired, fatigued, because it's going to start to balance that blood glucose level, your hormone level, your brain waves, because you're given that constant fuel. I'm going up north for Labor Day, and we're going to have bonfires, but if I just put one log on that bonfire, it's going to burn hot, but then it's going to burn out pretty quickly. And so if we can constantly add kindling to the fire, your metabolism with food, that's what I want you to think about over these 21 days. Can you eat every 3 to 4 hours on a consistent basis? This will start to show you, wow, that's an energy level that I can sustain. The second thing is, from a frequency, give yourself time at night to cleanse the body. And this is called a 12 or 14-hour overnight circadian rhythm fast. Intermittent fasting, I'm not a huge fan of it. It becomes more of a diet. We start to restrict. Again, we're starting to focus on what we can't do versus we all need to give ourselves that nighttime fast. And so over this 21 days, try to cut yourself off 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and give yourself the 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Give yourself that 12 hours, potentially 14 hours if you have more time. And you'll see kind of this less bloating, less inflammation, maybe a little more cognitive focus when you wake up. because the body had time to take out the trash. So that's really important over these 21 days. Calories, I'm going to mention it, but what you're going to realize is you're not going to see anything that talks about calories, talks about nutrient facts, because when we start eating at the center of the target, the body starts to crave certain foods. And so when we're putting a dish together, we're going to have complex carbs, proteins, fats. We're not going to have to worry about, counting calories or counting macronutrients. The reality, 500 calories of a chocolate cake might be a sliver of that cake. 500 calories of broccoli is going to be a bushel of broccoli. So the closer to the source, the less we really have to focus on calories. We can definitely overeat certain foods, especially the more dense foods like nuts and seeds. But just listen to your body, chart your body. What foods do you feel good on? What foods kind of take a while to break down? This is your challenge. This is not our challenge. We're just here to guide you along the way. And then now it comes, how do we do this forever? Or how do we sustain this 365 days a year? Many of us are not going to do the 21-day challenge around Christmas time. But as we've gone these 20 months in COVID and 400 plus webinars, working with people, I think the census is many of us kind of got away from some of our habits, some of our routines, our exercise, our nutrition. And so I think right now is probably the most important time for many of us to take back control of our health. And a big part of it is nutritionally. How do we get back into routine of eating better? School's back. Some of us are going back into the office for the first time. Hopefully back to some normalcy coming around the corner. But it's time that we take back our nutritional plan. And it's not just because we should. It's because I think a lot of you want to feel better. But the 80-20 rule is how we're going to transition after the 21 days. And so what this graph shows you, if you're eating 3 meals a day for a week, 21 meals, 4 or 5 of those meals, it doesn't matter if you have a cocktail or a burger or French fries or pizza, or you go out with your girlfriends or your guy friends. It's fine. That's how we can sustain this. That's how we can enjoy it. But also looking at this and saying, well, this isn't 50-50. And so I think a lot of us want some results, lose weight, better digestion, improve maybe acid reflux or our sleep, or maybe our blood work, or maybe our skin, whatever it is outcome-wise. And to get that, we have to make change. And that's what the 80-20 rule is. When we do it 80-20, we're not only going to fuel the body, but we're also going to have the ability to make it sustainable and enjoyable because we have some leeway. So 21 days, the reason why we picked 21 days, most people that are committed can do 21 days. After the 21 days, that's when we can transition into the 80-20 rule. And again, along the way, we're going to share this in the email, explain this, talk about it, and we're always here to answer questions if you have them. Another resource, if you're not using our app, is an amazing resource. It's going to have courses if you want to go a little bit deeper. It's going to have recipes, exercises. There's a community. A lot of you are on the app, obviously, right now, viewing this webinar. But use this tool. Some of the content's free. Once you get deeper in the content, it's a monthly subscription. But just check it out. And we're happy to share. There's a 3-day trial period. Use this as a tool, and if it can benefit, use it. If it's not something you use, there's other ways that we can get you the information. So how do you sign up for the challenge? What's my recommendation? So before you take out your phone and you start to do the QR code here, Labor Day is in the next couple days, this weekend. And I truly believe to be successful over the 21 days, I would probably start Monday or Tuesday next week. But this challenge is, you're ready to sign up right now. You can use that QR code. You can take your phone, take a picture, open up your photos to the QR code. It will take you right to the landing page. But you're going to see over the next couple days, you're going to see an email reminder how to sign up for the challenge. This is my personal email. If you have any questions, that's what we're here for. So this is the QR code for everybody at On Target Living. We're going to start Monday of next week. Really allows us to not have to maybe worry about starting the challenge in the middle of a holiday weekend. But I think September is so important to really get some focus back, not only for myself, but for many of my clients, and I think everyone watching, looking for maybe feeling a little bit better. And so I want to open up for a little question and answers that I have or I got, and then I'm going to end it and lead you on your way. But I asked you, how do you feel? I want you to really think about that. How do you feel? If you don't feel like you think you can, then I really think eating better for 21 days might show you, oh my gosh, there's some opportunity. Number 2, can you have fruit? Yes, I think I showed and talked about fruit is amazing. Most of these diets are telling us not to eat fruit. Why? Because fruits hold on to water, and water equals weight. And so when we cut out fruits, cut out carbohydrates, you're going to lose weight. And so that's why it's a quick, kind of easy results. Doesn't mean that the body's healthier. We need water. It's actually important. We need hydration. Fruits are very cleansing. They are high in sugar because that's what they are. That's what makes them sweet. But we need to start eating more fruits. That's a very common question happening right now. So what happens, you're doing the 21-day challenge, day 8, day 3, day 20, you cheat. You get off the 21-day challenge. That's okay. Now, the goal is to go the whole 21 days, but if you get off your plan or you had something come up or your birthday happens to fit when you start this 21-day challenge, that's okay. Be kind to yourself. Just the next day, get back at it. Because one of the mistakes we can make is when we're trying to do something focused, just to give up when we get off the kind of the rails a little bit. We're going to have stresses. We're going to have days where we don't feel like cooking. That is normal. But don't give up if you find yourself having a couple cheat days along the way. Where do I get the Eat Guide? Once you sign up, we're going to give you all the resources. Again, using the QR code. You can go to the website right now, check it out, and get some more information. Get a partner, get a coworker, get a family member. Make this part of the community. We'd love to hear about recipes you're trying and what's working, what's not working, because it's going to help other people. So those are some of the common questions that we're seeing right now along the challenge. But again, I think it's exhausting to focus on the things that we can't eat. You know, we know that we can't or shouldn't eat some of these things. We know we probably shouldn't have nachos and 3 or 4 beers watching a sporting event every single day. But we're going to focus for 21 days all on the positive. How can you eat in the center of the target? Trying to sample and experiment with foods maybe you haven't tried in a while. And then along the way, you're going to find you're going to create habits. And those habits will start to lead to better outcomes. And those outcomes will start to fuel these rituals that you can have and sustain. So every morning, it doesn't take me a lot of energy to make oatmeal on the run, take the cod liver oil, take my frozen wheatgrass juice, pack my lunch, because it's a ritual. And so with COVID, with the challenges we all face, I think it's time that we kind of get back into our body, start to play that offense. There's never going to be a great time, but I think the time is now for all of us to take back control and find ways to feel our best. So we're here as a guide. The entire team's going to be doing the 21-day challenge. You can start the 21-day challenge at any time, and along the way we're going to be emailing you, guiding you, and trying to give you pieces of advice. So have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you on the 21-day challenge.